Imagine sitting in a high-stakes room where every single chart, report, and expert opinion points toward an impending disaster. Yet, the decision-makers at the table look at the exact same data and see absolute proof of victory. How is it possible for brilliant minds, armed with millions of dollars in research and intelligence, to look reality dead in the eye and completely misread it? This is not just human stubbornness or simple political arrogance. It is a deeply wired psychological glitch embedded inside every human brain. An invisible mental filter that forces us to seek out, interpret, and remember information that confirms what we already believe, while completely ignoring or discarding any evidence that proves us wrong. It is called confirmation bias. Whether you are deciding who to vote for, investing your life savings, or simply arguing with a relative over dinner, this hidden psychological trap is silently steering your decisions right now. Long before modern psychology had a name for it, thinkers recognized this dangerous flaw in human reasoning. In 431 BC, the ancient Greek historian Thucydides observed that it is a habit of mankind to entrust to careless hope what they long for, and to use sovereign reason to thrust aside what they do not desire. Centuries later, in 1620, English philosopher Francis Bacon wrote in Novum Organum that once a human mind has adopted an opinion, it draws all other things to support and agree with it. But it was not until 1960 that a British cognitive psychologist named Peter Wason at University College London decided to test this phenomenon scientifically. Wason designed a deceptively simple experiment. He gave participants a sequence of 3 numbers, 2, 4, 6. He told them the sequence followed a hidden rule, and their job was to discover that rule by proposing other 3-number sequences. Wason would tell them whether their proposed sequence fit the rule or not. Most people immediately assumed the rule was numbers increasing by 2. To test their hypothesis, they guessed sequences like 8, 10, 12, or 20, 22, 24. Wason said yes every time. Confident they were right, participants declared the rule. But they were wrong. The actual rule was simply any 3 numbers in increasing order. To find the true rule, participants needed to test sequences that disproved their theory, like 6, 5, 4 or 2, 4, 7. Almost no one did. They only tested numbers that would confirm their existing belief. Wason coined the term confirmation bias to describe this universal cognitive trap. To see how confirmation bias operates when the stakes are infinitely higher than a laboratory game, we have to look at one of the most disastrous intelligence failures in modern history, the 2003 invasion of Iraq and the search for weapons of mass destruction. On October 1, 2002, the United States National Intelligence Council produced a classified national intelligence estimate concluding that Iraq possessed active chemical and biological weapons programs and was actively pursuing nuclear capability. Key officials presented this intelligence as irrefutable fact to the United Nations and the world public. On February 5, 2003, Secretary of State Colin Powell held up a model vial of anthrax during a speech before the UN Security Council. Yet, after the invasion, the Iraq Survey Group, a 1,400-member international team led by David Kay and later Charles Delfer, conducted an exhaustive 2-year search across the entire nation. Their final report, published in October 2004, concluded that Iraq had destroyed its stockpile of chemical and biological weapons shortly after the 1991 Gulf War and had no active nuclear program. How did the world's most sophisticated intelligence apparatus get it so catastrophically wrong? In July 2004, the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence released a scathing 511-page report detailing what happened. The committee found that intelligence analysts suffered from systemic confirmation bias. They started with the fixed assumption that Saddam Hussein possessed weapons of mass destruction. Every piece of ambiguous evidence was stretched to fit that premise. Human intelligence from questionable sources, like the informant codenamed Curveball, was accepted without proper vetting because his stories confirmed what analysts already believed. Meanwhile, contradictory evidence, such as statements from high-level Iraqi defectors like Hussein Kamel in 1995 who explicitly stated that all biological and chemical weapons had been destroyed, was downplayed, dismissed, or ignored. The analysts did not lie, they simply saw only the dots that connected their pre-existing picture, leading to a war that cost hundreds of thousands of lives and trillions of dollars. So why does the human brain work this way? Why are we so desperate to be right that we will literally distort reality? Neuroscientists and evolutionary psychologists have uncovered several compelling theories. In 2004, psychologist Drew Weston led a landmark neuroimaging study at Emory University during the U.S. presidential election. He placed committed Democrats and Republicans inside MRI brain scanners and showed them self-contradictory statements made by their preferred candidates, as well as opposing candidates. When participants evaluated conflicting evidence about their political rivals, the reasoning areas of their brains functioned normally. But when presented with evidence that contradicted their own candidate, the brain's rational processing centers, like the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, essentially went quiet. Instead, the brain's emotional networks, specifically the anterior cingulate cortex and the amygdala, lit up. Once the participants found a way to rationalize away the negative information about their candidate, the brain released a surge of dopamine, the neurochemical associated with reward and pleasure. In short, confirming our beliefs feels physically good, while confronting disconfirming evidence causes genuine cognitive discomfort, known as cognitive dissonance. From an evolutionary standpoint, this makes sense. For our hunter-gatherer ancestors, staying aligned with the social group was a matter of life and death. Challenging the tribe's shared beliefs risked banishment and death. Our brains evolved not to pursue objective, scientific truth, but to maintain social cohesion and protect our social identity. In the modern world, this tendency is amplified by algorithms. Social media platforms use machine learning algorithms designed to maximize engagement. They do this by feeding us content that echoes our existing views, creating digital echo chambers where confirmation bias operates on hyperdrive. Today, behavioral scientists know that confirmation bias cannot be cured simply by being smart or highly educated. In fact, studies show that individuals with higher cognitive ability are often better at rationalizing their biases because they are more skilled at constructing convincing arguments to defend their pre-existing views. So how do we protect ourselves from our own minds? The answer lies in adopting the scientific method of falsification, pioneered by philosopher Karl Popper. Instead of asking what evidence proves I am right, we must actively ask what evidence would prove I am wrong. Military intelligence agencies now use red teaming, a practice where a dedicated group of analysts is tasked specifically with destroying the primary consensus argument. In our personal lives, we can practice what philosophers call steelmanning, building the strongest possible version of an opposing argument before attempting to evaluate it. While we may never completely eliminate confirmation bias from our neural circuitry, simply recognizing its presence is the first step towards seeing the world as it actually is, rather than how we wish it to be. If this video made you question how you think, hit the like button and share it with someone who loves a good debate. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment below with a time you caught yourself falling into the confirmation bias trap. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.